Hi, this is Karen Martin, your resident naturopath, and you're listening to Leisure Link with Peter Greco on 5RPH.
Six away from a six, and Stacey Copas is recently back from some time in Cambodia. How you going, Stacey?
Fantastic, thanks. How are you, Peter?
Pretty good. What took you to Cambodia?
Well, I was fortunate enough as part of a consulting group that I'm a part of called Enable Development. We look at disability inclusion and international development, and we were actually invited to go and take part in a research and evaluation project as part of the Australian Red Cross team to look at a specific disability inclusion initiative that's just been happening across Cambodia. So it was a fantastic opportunity.
And how was it in terms of either comparing, or were they doing something that we could learn from?
Yeah, look, absolutely there's things that we can learn from, and I think that's probably one of the most interesting things about doing some of this international development work, especially around disability, is there's a bit of a notion from the countries that we go to that, in a Western country like Australia, that we've got everything perfect as far as disability and accessibility and inclusion goes. But the reality is, when we go to places like that, we learn so much from their innovation and their ideas about how to get people more included in communities than we probably miss here.
So who drives that? The government, the community? How does that happen?
Well, the initiative that was happening over there, it was funded by AusAid and was administered by the Australian Red Cross. And what happened through that was that there was some mainstream organisations, there was disability people's organisations, and also some NGOs working in the disability space. And what they did was they submitted their project ideas, and then they formed partnerships to actually deliver these projects. So, some of the projects were around awareness raising, some involved sport, some involved livelihood activities. So they were very, very diverse.
And the types of disabilities that are sort of prominent in a place like Cambodia, I'm asking the question because I'm pretty sure that at the Sydney Paralympic Games, the sitting volleyball team from Cambodia was mainly as a result of landmines.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Cambodia have one of the highest rates of amputees in the world, and that's, directly related to landmines, and particularly along some of the provinces that are actually along the border of Thailand. There's still a lot of unexploded, undiscovered landmines, so it's still a really big problem. And some of the projects that they did do, so there was quite a few. There was a few people doing the volleyball projects, which was great, but also that a lot of stuff ties in around the mine education as well to try and reduce the incidence of amputations due to landmines.
What happens now as far as that part of it goes, that involvement with Cambodia? Is there sort of anything ongoing or with you?
Look, not at this stage. This was a very short project, but definitely there were some connections made while we were over there, and there's definitely things that we'd like to follow up just to see how the projects go. And also, look, we'd be definitely always looking for opportunities to then be able to go and do something a little bit more long term rather than very, very short research like this. It'd be nice to actually get involved in more of a collaborative effort rather than more of a research side of it.
Stacey, a few weeks ago we caught up with Andrew Inglis, who along with Julie run a very interesting course that people can take part in. You've been involved with such a course?
Yes, I was. So that was the micro business for people with disability. So that ran last year. I was involved in a group that was run in Adelaide, and that was specifically for people with disability to give them the skills and the knowledge and also the confidence and support to really investigate self-employment as a viable income generation opportunity, which is something that I felt quite strongly about prior to seeing the course come up. So I definitely thought it would be a good opportunity to take the course. I had a business started already, but it was something that really helped me to get the structure rather than just the good ideas. And it was also good just to network with other people that had the motivation and the desire to look at small business and particularly home-based business as an opportunity for them.
So is the message, if you as in the employers won't employ me, then I'll employ myself?
Absolutely. I think the thing is that it takes that responsibility and that control, and it also removes a lot of the barriers, particularly when we're looking some of the common barriers that people with disability do have when looking for employment. It can be there's physical barriers about access to buildings, transport, support in the workplace, and then there's also sometimes there's even just attitudes in the workplace that can be a barrier. Yeah. So definitely by creating a business from home, it removes all of those.
Tell us a bit about your business.
Yeah, my business. I'm actually an inspirational, motivational speaker, and I also do some training and workshops, and also do some one-on-one coaching with people. And most of my clients recently have actually been women with disability, which has been quite exciting to be able to work with, with some other young women who have got some really great ideas about what they want to do. And also I've been fortunate enough with Andrew and Julie Inglis from Learning Potential is at the same time as doing my certificate in micro business last year, I had the opportunity to do my Cert 4 in training and assessment with them, and I'm actually delivering some of the sessions this year for the new recruits for the certificate in micro business for people with disability that's running at the moment in Adelaide.
Fantastic. And Stacey, for people who might not know your story, you were in the media quite a bit a little while ago. Do you want to sort of give us a brief snapshot?
Sorry, can you just run that by me again?
The snapshot of your story, how your disability, how it's impacted on you, or how you've lived life with it.
Yeah. Well, look, I actually had an accident 22 years ago now. So well over more than half of my life. I dived into a shallow pool, broke my neck, and have ended up quadriplegic and have had to use a wheelchair since then. Like most people, that really turned my life upside down. And I was a 12-year-old at the time, so it was a real struggle. So through my high school years was a very, very tough time. And it wasn't until, much further on into, my adult life that I really learnt that it was actually a blessing what had happened to me. It wasn't, it wasn't a disaster. And it really gave me, that perspective gave me a whole new insight onto the opportunities that actually had been presented as a result of my life being changed in that way.
Give your business a plug. If people want to book you for a speaking spot, how can we get in touch?
Yeah, look, the best way to get in touch with me is via my website. So that's staceycopas.com, STACEYCOPAS.com, and all of my contact details and social media links are there, and definitely like to speak to people to see how I can help them out.
Okay, and people want to find out more about Learning Potential, I guess they can Google them as well.
Yeah, well, it's learningpotential.com.au.
Easy. Stacey, thanks for that, and we'll speak again.
Excellent. Thanks, Peter. Have a great night.
That's Stacey Copas, who telling us about her time in Cambodia and also her motivational speaking and also Learning Potential with Julie and Andrew Inglis. This is LeisureLink here on 11.